Afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here today. I'm joined by members of the Detroit Police Department executive team. Also, thank you, Madam Prosecutor Kim Worthy, for standing with me today on this important issue that impacts our children, as well as their future. It's no secret we've had a rash of school threats since the tragic shooting in Oxford. Many of these threats are not credible. However, they require investigation, intense investigation. We exert a significant number of resources to investigate each and every complaint that comes in. There's nothing amusing about threatening to harm others. And if you do, the consequences, if you engage in that behavior, the consequences are severe. It could result in criminal charges as well as a felony on your record, and it can follow you for the rest of your life. We've had schools cancel classes as recent as today. A school in our city had to cancel classes due to an online threat. We have our crime analysis specialists who are extremely experienced in investigating these charges and these complaints. Our cybercrimes unit is extremely talented and well-equipped to investigate these complaints, as well as look at your digital footprints that you make when you use social media to make these types of threats. It's very important that parents have conversations with their children to eliminate this unnecessary situation that doing this causes, and certainly have that conversation often and explain to them that, you know, this is not a joke. The police department does not take this as a joke, and we will investigate and we will charge you with a crime. And for more on that, I'll bring up Madam Prosecutor Kim Worthy to talk about some of the things that she has seen. Thank you, Prosecutor.
Thank you for having me today, and I welcome an opportunity to talk about these particular cases. As I was leaving the office just about a half an hour ago, I decided to check and see if the number had changed of the cases that we've charged for school threats to date since Oxford. This morning I did an interview and it was 18. I was told right before I left that it was now up to 23. So we have now charged 23 cases of youth, almost all youth, making school threats. And we're looking at least 10 more. And I would not be surprised if we double the number next week of what we're looking at. We were not surprised to see that there may be a number of quote-unquote copycat type cases. That's not unusual, unfortunately. But what people don't know is we've been seeing this for a very long time, and we've been tracking these numbers since 2018. In Michigan, it's a crime, as the chief said, to make a false threat, even if you have no intention of carrying it out. And I just want to detail for a minute some of the crimes that we're charging. False report or threat of terrorism, which is a 20-year felony. False bomb threat, which is a 4-year felony. Intentional threat to commit an act of violence against school employees or students. That's a 1-year misdemeanor. Malicious use of a telecommunications device or their service, a 1-year misdemeanor. Use of a computer or network to commit a crime, a 1-year misdemeanor. And disturbance in a school, which is a local ordinance that some cities have. And of course, any weapons offenses that are incumbent to these charges. Now, it's important to point out that almost all of the people that we have charged have been juveniles, people under the age of 17 or under, I should say now, since the law has changed, and they will not receive, I repeat, not receive an adult sentence. The judge that has the case will look at the case, the seriousness of the case, and of course we know these cases are extremely serious, and also fashion a sentence for the rehabilitation of the juvenile, and that's how the juvenile system works. We have looked at this phenomenon, I should say, since 2018, and we've tried to communicate with every single entity in Wayne County. As you know, there are 43 jurisdictions in Wayne County, and we deal with many other agencies as well. We want to, and we have been trying to educate parents. Talk to your children, make sure they report, and let them understand that even if they commit an offense like this and they are not charged, there can be lifelong consequences. And I just want to talk about some of the things that we've seen. We have seen major colleges and universities, when they hear that the people they have recently admitted have been involved in this type of crime, disinvited them or told them they could no longer come, they were no longer going to be a freshman in the incoming class. We have seen people lose their jobs. We have seen other lifelong consequences, so this is very, very serious, even if you are not charged with a crime because we cannot prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. Parents, please talk to your children. Let them know this is serious. Let them know even if they intend it to be a prank, it isn't a joke. We have to expend many, many resources working with law enforcement, sometimes mental health agencies, with the families themselves, and not all parents are cooperative, I'm sorry to say, with the school system and with our office. And sometimes it's a 24/7 operation for days once we get information that there is a threat that's occurred. You don't want to be that municipality who doesn't take every threat seriously. That's why we take these extremely seriously, and we work together in tandem to make sure that we don't have a credible threat. And when we do, we act accordingly. Fortunately, in all of the 23 cases that we've charged, and most likely in the other 10 plus that we're looking at, we hope there won't be any kind of incident, and there hasn't been so far. But again, there have been charges. We're going to prosecute them as we should, and hopefully soon these kind of proliferation of these threats will stop. I want to mention one other thing. This nation, and especially this region, is going to have to take a serious look at child access to guns. Children are fascinated with them. They have access to them, and that's what leads to some of these threats. And we are especially concerned about these cases where these threats are made, and we find out that some of these children actually have access to multiple guns, and we've seen that in several cases. So again, this is serious. We will charge you because we have to. We've already charged 23 cases. We're looking at many more, and I wouldn't be surprised if this skyrockets further out of control unless there's some intervention from every aspect of society. So thank you.
Our top priority is to ensure that our children are safe, that they can go to school and not have to be worried about being attacked at school. So with that, that's why we're here today, and we'll take any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Chief. Media, will you please come to the microphone with your questions? Thank you.
Tim Baker with Fox 2. Do any of these threats that you've received rise to the level of terrorism, like perhaps we saw out in Oxford, that those actions, of course, were those of a terrorist?
Well, again, that's the name of one of the charges, one of the most serious charges. If an adult commits that offense, we would have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that they met the elements of that offense, and it would be up to 20 years in prison. But of course, as I said, so yes. But the ones that we've talked about, I can't talk about the facts in each individual case. Again, those will speak in court. But yes, the name of the charge does have the word terrorism, false report, or threat of terrorism, which is a 20-year felony if you're an adult.
All right, good afternoon, Ross Jones with Channel 7. Prior to Oxford, are you aware of any students that had been charged with any of the felonies that you're talking about now, where their sentence ultimately did include any jail time or prison time? Because the 20-year sentence is something we hear a lot about, heard a lot about last week, and rightfully so. Are there any cases you can point to where anyone actually spent any time incarcerated as a result of their sentence that you're aware of?
I cannot speak to that at this particular moment. I can tell you we've charged, I shouldn't say charged, we've had over 100 incidences of these cases since Parkland happened, and I believe that was 2018 in Florida, and that's when we started tracking them. So I know we're tracking the sentences, but I can't tell you at this point in time if anyone spent any time in jail or prison. I don't know.
Okay. And then separate from that, your counterpart in Oakland and in Macomb, and Chief, yours as well, and other communities, have been very vocal about these threats and how seriously you take them, and yet every day they continue. Why do you think that is? I mean, are people not believing what you're saying? What do you think is behind the fact that we're still in this boat?
Well, I think we certainly have a gun problem, and this is not a Second Amendment issue. This is about children's access to guns, people who should not have this access. But certainly, we were not surprised, as I said before, that there are copycat crimes. This is what we see. Even when Parkland happened, our numbers soared at that time, which is why we started tracking them. So all I can tell you, but I can say this. We've undertaken a lot of efforts to get the word out that this is very serious, and we cannot track a negative. I cannot tell you how many people have decided not to do this because of the efforts that we've made, because their parents have talked to them, because the teachers have talked to them, the school has taken certain efforts. So I can't tell you how many things have not happened because of those efforts. So that's the best answer I can give you at this point.
Gotcha. And then just one more. Of the 23 that you have charged, did you say all of them are juveniles or any?
I believe they're all 17 or under.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Ingrid Kelly with Fox 2. Did you mention any of the parents? Will they be held responsible or have any responsibility with these cases at all?
The cases we have not found that to be the case, but certainly we are not afraid in the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office to charge parents when we can choose them, when we can show that they're guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. We've done that in some of our child safety cases where children have gotten access to guns in homes of lawful gun owners. We have charged those parents responsible. But in these cases, I do not think we're going to be charging any parents in these cases. But again, it's a case-by-case basis. We still have some that are under investigation at this point, almost 10 of them. And we expect to get more, unfortunately. But right now, we have not charged any parents.
All right, again, we want the parents to talk to their kids. We want our kids safe. I think we have to move beyond general conversation on this serious matter. These are very serious charges and very serious incidents, and we are investigating each and every one of them, and we're going to hold folks accountable. So we need people to talk to their kids and make sure that they're holding their children accountable. And as the prosecutor indicated, we've got a gun problem. We've got a major gun problem in our community. We got a major gun problem in this country. Too much access to guns, too many people using guns to resolve simple disputes, and we find ourselves where we are today. So thank you for being here, and appreciate the coverage.
Can I make one more point, Chief?
Oh, please.
I just want to make clear that even though we're standing here in Detroit, the cases that we've charged and the cases that we're looking at are all over the county of Wayne. And it's not just a Detroit issue. This is a southeastern Michigan issue, and this is a national issue. So I just want to make that clear.
All right, all set. Thank you.